sympathy. The wind howled across the Pride Lands that night, carrying with it a strange silence. Even the stars seemed dimmer, as if the sky itself was holding its breath. Simba stood on the edge of Pride Rock, his mane swaying gently in the cool air, his golden eyes fixed on the horizon. Something didn't feel right. The land was combat to calm, and in that uneasy stillness, he heard it, a faint roar echoing from the farthest end of the valley. It wasn't any roar he recognized. It was deep, haunting, and filled with sorrow. "That can't be," Simba whispered. "No lion from these lands sounds like that." Nala approached, her steps light, her eyes full of worry. "Simba, come inside, it's late. You've been standing here for hours." Simba shook his head slowly. "Did you hear it, Nala? The roar?" She tilted her head, listening. "I heard nothing but the wind." Simba frowned. It wasn't the wind, it sounded lost, like someone calling for help. At that moment, a small yawn interrupted them. Kiara, their daughter, peeked from the cave, her eyes heavy with sleep. "Papa, are you talking to the stars again?" she said softly. Simba smiled, walking over to nuzzle her. "Not tonight, little one, go back to sleep." But as he turned his gaze back to the valley, the unease in his chest only grew. The next morning, the sun rose over the Pride Lands with its usual warmth, but Simba couldn't shake the memory of that mysterious roar. He gathered Zazu, Timon, and Pumbaa near the watering hole. "Last night, I heard something unusual," he began. "A roar sad and strong. I want to know where it came from." Timon looked nervous. Maybe it was just a sleepy hippo boss. They make weird sounds when they dream." Pumbaa nodded eagerly. "Yeah, once I snored so loud I scared myself awake." Simba gave a half smile. "No, this was different. It came from beyond the Shadow Valley." Zazu gasped, "Your Majesty, that's the Forbidden Zone. No one goes there since the last storm. The ground is unstable, and then I'll go alone." Simba interrupted, his tone firm. By noon, Simba had crossed the dry plains and reached the edge of Shadow Valley. The air here was thick, heavy with dust and the faint scent of ash. Broken trees and cracked earth stretched far into the distance. Simba descended into the valley. The sunlight dimmed, swallowed by the haze, and then he heard it again, the same roar, closer this time. "Who's there?" Simba called, his deep voice echoing. From behind a boulder, a figure emerged, a lion, thin, scarred, with eyes that glowed faintly in the shadows. "You shouldn't be here, King Simba," the stranger growled. Simba tensed. "You know my name, Everyone knows the king who ended Scar's reign," the stranger said, stepping into the light. His fur was dark brown, his mane streaked with gray, but some wounds never healed. "Simba, some of us lost everything." Simba's eyes narrowed. "You were one of Scar's followers." The lion's eyes softened briefly. "Once, but I'm not here for revenge. I came to warn you." "Warn me?" Simba asked, puzzled. The stranger looked up toward the cliffs. "The lands are changing. The drought will return soon. And when it does, something buried beneath these rocks will awaken." Before Simba could ask more, the ground trembled. Stones rolled down the slopes, and a deep rumble filled the air. The stranger shouted, "Go! It's starting!" Simba leaped backward as the earth split open, a cloud of dust rising around him. When the shaking stopped, the stranger was gone, vanished into the cracks below. Simba scanned the area, his heart pounding. The faint sound of the lost roar echoed again, fading into the wind. That evening, back at Pride Rock, Nala noticed the dust covering Simba's mane. "You went alone again," she said quietly. "I had to," Simba replied. "Someone out there knows something about our future." Nala frowned. "You can't keep chasing ghosts, Simba. The Pride needs you here." "I'm not chasing ghosts," he said firmly. "I'm protecting our family." Later that night, as the Pride slept, Simba lay awake beside Kiara and Nala. He couldn't shake the words of the stranger. Something buried will awaken. He stepped outside, the moonlight painting the land silver. He gazed toward Shadow Valley and saw something glowing faintly near the horizon. The next day, Simba called Rafiki to Pride Rock. The old mandrill climbed up slowly, humming his usual chants. "Ah, Simba," Rafiki said, smiling. You look troubled. Simba explained everything, the roar, the stranger, the warning. Rafiki listened silently, then tapped his staff on the ground. The roar you heard is not of this time. What do you mean? Simba asked. Rafiki's eyes gleamed. Sometimes, the past speaks to those who carry its burden, scars. Shadow may have vanished, but the pain of his rule still whispers in the earth. Simba sighed. I thought I ended that pain. You ended his rule, not his memory, Rafiki said softly, and memories. They have claws. Simba spent the next few days strengthening the Pride's defenses. He sent scouts to survey the outer lands, but none found anything unusual. Still, every night, the same roar echoed faintly from afar. One evening, while Simba watched the sunset, Kiara approached. Papa, are you afraid? She asked. Simba smiled faintly. Even kings feel fear, Kiara, but courage means facing it anyway. She leaned against him. Maybe the roar isn't scary. Maybe it's lonely. Simba looked at her, surprised by her words. Lonely. Kiara nodded. You said, everything in the Pride Lands is connected. Maybe the roar is just trying to find home. Her innocence struck him deeply. That night, Simba returned to the valley. This time not as a king but as a listener. He stood at the edge of the canyon and closed his eyes. If you seek peace, show yourself, he whispered. The wind shifted, and for a moment, the world fell silent. Then an image flickered before him in the dust. A silhouette, a lion, familiar, powerful father. Simba whispered. Mufasa's voice, deep and calm, rolled through the wind. You are troubled, my son? Simba bowed his head. I failed. Father, the pride is safe, but the land feels empty. Something is missing. Mufasa's voice echoed warmly. You have forgotten one truth. Simba, the roar, is not only a sound, it is a bond. When you lost your roar to doubt, the land lost its voice too. Simba's eyes widened. My roar. Yes, Mufasa said. The roar of a true king comes from his heart, not his throat. You must find it again, not through fear or battle, but through love. The vision faded. Simba stood frozen, his eyes glistening. Suddenly, he understood. The roar he had been hearing was not from another lion, it was an echo of his own spirit, calling him back to himself. The next morning, Simba gathered the pride atop Pride Rock. He looked at Kiara, at Nala, at every lion who depended on him. I've been searching for danger, he said, when I should have been listening to my heart. The Pride Lands don't need a warrior today. They need a protector who leads with love. He raised his head, feeling the warmth of the rising sun on his mane. And for the first time in many nights, he roared not with anger, but with pride, compassion, and strength. The sound carried across the plains, echoing through every valley, awakening the land itself. Grass swayed, birds soared, and even the rivers seemed to shimmer brighter. Nala smiled. You found your roar again. Simba looked at her, his eyes soft. No, he said quietly. I never lost it. I just forgot what it meant. Far away, in the Shadow Valley, a pair of glowing eyes watched from the darkness. A soft growl escaped the unseen figure's throat. So the king remembers his strength, the voice hissed. Good, let him roar. The louder he grows, the closer our time comes. And just like that, peace returned to the Pride Lands, but not for long.